What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back through. Traveling again, as you can see, I'm in the airport. I'm at LaGuardia, LGA, New York City. It's early in the morning, or late at night, either way. Had some flight cancellations and delays, and so I find myself lost in translation. So let's start out by telling you the super sweet good part. I'm not sure why, but Adidas let me use a 25% off voucher in my Addy Club points. So I actually got this shoe, which is originally $300, a pretty hefty price tag. I got this shoe for $225. Brand new, brand new Addy Club colorway, because this was the exclusive pre-release colorway for the Addy Club members. And I think the next colorway was kind of their lightning green. I got this shoe for almost $75 off plus tax. I couldn't believe it. So for the price of an Adizero Adios Pro 3, I got the Strung Prime X2. Crazy. This shoe is absolutely crazy. There's some pluses, there's some minuses, there's some nitpicks. I'm going to try and be fair about it and get into it. Again, I buy shoes I like, I buy shoes I'm interested in. And oftentimes, the review is going to be positive because there's something that drew me to the shoe in the first place. However, I have to try to be a little more fair, a little bit more balanced, if you will, and try to give some positives, some negatives, some nitpicks, just to give people a fair shake and a fair sight at what the shoe is and what it's going to do for them. So let's get into the Prime X Strung 2. I was going to say, let's start with the obvious, but all of this shoe is obvious. For one, it's beautiful. That's the obvious point. But it's got some obvious things that you're looking for in that midsole. Got some really obvious things that you're looking for in the upper. So we'll start with the laces. While functional here at the top, I don't know how much they're actually going to pull the shoe up and around your foot. It might even be the thickness of your sock that gives it the better fit. The laces don't have the underpinning that something like the Adizero Pro 3 has. So I'm really not sure where it's pulling on the upper. That strung upper, imagine that there's a whole shoe of fly wire. That's what it is. And it's supposed to be strung given the feedback of athletes and where they need support. You can kind of actually see it almost kind of like a magic eye painting. You can see where the toe guard would be. You can see how it loosens up here, and then it gives some strapping there where the strung pieces are a little more bunched up. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but right now we're just kind of talking how the laces are attached to that. Not really sure how functional that will be. The upper, as far as I've worn, is a little loose. I get some slippage in the heel. Now I've had it on with a thick sock, and I've also had it on barefoot. I don't get the same rubbing in the back that I got with the Adios Pro 3, and that's a good thing because if I could, I would prefer to wear this strung barefoot. It feels a lot better inside. I feel a little bit more connected to both the insole and the strung technology, but it's interesting to say the least. You have this piece right here, which is a stretchy piece. It's not neoprene, it's more just like a stretch knit going across the instep of the foot. I have a slight bony protrusion on top of my foot, so that makes it a little bit more comfortable. Right here, though, I've noticed that it likes to curl up both with socks and barefoot, so that's just something to be aware of. It's going to be a minor annoyance that will curl on you right there. I think I could get it tight enough. I don't feel any looseness around the ankle. Forefoot didn't really need it. Again, I couldn't feel that extra tightness or support, but I'll try to wrench on a little bit more and see what happens. In the Primex upper now, as I said, you can kind of see it as you kind of focus in. You can see where those bunches of strands begin to form some of the more traditional aspects of the shoe. You can see the toe guard. You can see a sort of crisscross pattern there where there would be more support pulling up on the toe, going back toward the midfoot, going back toward the arch. There is no reflectivity as far as I can see. So these Adidas stripes are just kind of painted on uh, brand elements that are not necessarily functional, as we have come to know Adidas stripes to be. But they do repeat in the Strung, they repeat some of the elements that are fused strapping on the other models, such as the Takumi Sen, such as the Adios Pro 3. So that's kind of cool that they included those things and made them functional. Again, where you see more bunches, you are supposed to be getting more support. Same pull tab backing there. It feels about the same. It's got a little different support underneath than the Adios Pro has. Minor difference. I don't think that it's a major thing. And so far, the upper fit is not just interesting, but comfortable. I'll start with saying it's interesting because it's unlike anything I've ever seen or felt. But the comfortability on the inside of it is way more comfortable than I expected. I'm super intrigued by that. And you'll notice here, I'll show you the other shoe that's actually on my foot. It will get interestingly puckered based on how your foot is fitting in the shoe. Now, rumor has it that you're going to get some customized fit over the first few wears. I'm not sure if that's body heat related, if it's movement related, but you're going to get some customization just based on how it wears on your particular foot. I'll be keeping tabs on that and seeing, because my right foot and left foot are different in the instep, in the arch, and in my big toe. And so it'll be interesting to see how that works. Now, let's go ahead and get into that midsole because it's crazy. So we are starting out with a 50 millimeter stack, and it is high. And I mean high. I believe it's a 6 millimeter drop off, but you don't really feel that. You've got some squish going on back here in the back near that 50. You've actually got some gapping in there, and I'll explain that in a second. And then you've got the roll to the toe and a pretty major drop off. It feels very even until you drop off. It's got a rocker feeling in the middle, right under the arch. So your heel sinks in, it gets stout around that gapping, and I'll explain that because there are two carbon fiber plates in there that are sandwiched around this midsection core that is a little bit softer. So it is all Light Strike Pro, but this piece here is meant to be slightly softer under the ball of your foot and on toe off. Two carbon fiber plates sandwiched in there, so you're getting some collapse here, but it does stiffen when those plates hit each other, and that's where that rocker comes from. The heel is squishy. Okay, and now I'm not saying Hoka squishy, I'm not saying New Balance more squishy, and that's what I like about it. In a shoe that's this high a stack, you could get a cartoonish amount of play. And I'm not feeling that, so I'm pretty happy about that. I was worried about that. It's a stout finish, a soft start, and a stout finish. So you get some pop. You could get up to speed in this. It's not a slow, lumbering shoe. It actually feels and responds a little bit more like the Adios Pro, which I like. And I'm a huge fan of that. I've got several pairs of those. Now, that softer core there, you do feel it, but again, with those plates there, you're going to feel the stiffness first. I kind of wonder what you're actually getting as a benefit other than just more, because the feel wasn't vastly different in terms of performance than my Adios Pro. The Adios Pro was more nimble. It didn't feel as if I had any less cushioning, and I actually prefer the rods over the carbon fiber plates. Plated shoes have always given my foot a little bit of discomfort because it's forcing pressure across the whole ball of your foot. And that's where I think the rods were very unique to Adidas by allowing you to have something that worked individually with the bones of the foot versus a sort of unilateral pressure on under that ball of the foot. So we'll see how that plays out in the long run. It's comfortable though. It's fun. It's a really fun shoe. I've got about 7 miles in it, mixed walking, jogging, even a little bit of plyos. Again, some have heard me state on this channel, I'm a tall runner. I'm heavier than most in terms of my weight, my mass. I'm right around 6'4". Uh, Steady outside of competition, steady around 210 to 215. So I'm compressing this shoe much more than somebody else would. So I'm thinking that I'm kind of igniting its stability features as I put more pressure on it, get that squish to stop squishing and actually stiffen on compression. But we'll have to see. I'm using it mainly on my longer interval days as a sprinter jumper. And then when I need to go fast, I'll be going down into my ADIDAS Pro 3. But flat surfaces, concrete, track, stadiums, hills, I'll be using this quite a bit. All right, let's get to that outsole and how it's married to the midsole. You get the design cues. I love the angular design cues of the current Adidas line. The design language is really, really good. Again, I've said it before, kind of speaks back to the Oberon and some shoes of the late 90s, early 2000s, made even more modern. I really dig that. Now going all the way underneath, you can see the two carbon fiber plates. That's pretty unique. So you can see the two layers that meet somewhere here in the heel, right underneath there. One goes all the way back, one starts about 3/4 of the way up. They do mush there. Here is around the area where they would actually meet and squish, performing some pop for you. And then here is the first plate closest to the ground, and then it continues on past that. Continental rubber all the way through. Beautiful shoe. You know, what you come to expect. Again, some of that design language with the ADIZero there. It's a wider shoe, which is something they needed to do with that stack height, and it works. You can feel the stability. I don't feel unstable in this shoe. I felt unstable a bit in my Nike Alpha Fly, as the heel is super narrow and Zoom X is super, super squishy. That heel is not as narrow as some of the other shoes on the market with this kind of height. It's also not as wide and flat as, say, the Hoka's or the More V4. So I think it hits a sweet spot that will definitely allow the use case to be, marathon, longer runs. I think this shoe comes alive at a certain pace. Not that it couldn't handle more, but it's a lot of shoe to get moving if you're trying to go really, really fast. And again, depending on your weight, depending on your mass, depending on your build. I'm long, tall, and heavier than most, so I can kind of get this shoe going. But it'll take a lot of work if you're a smaller runner, if you're a traditional distance runner, light frame, light musculature. That might be a little bit much to get going fast. But once you get up to pace, this shoe is going to cruise for you. That is the ADIZero Prime X Strung 2. So, once again, I appreciate you all for coming back through. I'm going to go try and get a little bit of sleep and hopefully have no more delays. And I pray no cancellations. But always fun to do one of these on the road with you. Appreciate everything you're doing. We're just about to approach 1,000 subs. I never ask for, like, subscribe, or any of that. I just want to tell you that I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all those who have subscribed and are sticking with me. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for appreciating the way that I do it, because I know that it's not typical. And thanks for letting me be that way. So appreciate you. We'll talk soon. Peace.